You gonna show me money.
Oh, good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app and the zone1059.com. And I thought the NFL was incredible over the weekend. Indiana and Oregon was not incredible. Absolute snooze fest blowout. Well, it was incredible if you had Indiana on any kind of bet. And then if you like Indiana and like Cignetti and the fact that he is an absolute war daddy, and he just took Alabama and Oregon out to the woodshed, not once, but made sure to take them out there twice. And domination from a school that you nor I have watched more than 10 of their plays in the history of their program. I don't even think y'all watched it when Michael Penix went through there a few years ago. So Indiana Hoosiers, of all people, or all teams, are dominating, just smoked Alabama, and then embarrassed Dan Lanning, Phil Knight, the Nike logo, and Oregon. Just embarrass them.
Is he going to be some kind of mythical creature eventually? Like when we tell that, I tell my grandkids.
You think he'll turn into like some kind of killer dinosaur?
Yeah,
Kurt Cignetti?
How does he not?
I wonder if he runs special ops on the side for us.
Dude.
You know?
Why doesn't he?
The guy, he's not human. And even more, let me say this. The SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Competitive rates, they're powered by Farm Bureau Insurance in any of the 82 counties in the state of Mississippi. All right? Farm Bureau Insurance, and Steve Robertson at 8 a.m. and Tom Luganbill at 8:30. Both will join us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Okay, let me get into the difference between Cignetti and Saban. So I want to. We've all tipped our cap to what Nick Saban built, and during that era, he built the best, most efficient football program that we had ever experienced or witnessed in the history of college football. You could go back to the Bear Bryant run of 6 national championships. Woody Hayes threw up a bunch of them. For about a 13-year period, Barry Switzer won 3, but also dominated college football. But we didn't have a real path to the national championship at that time. You actually left it into, media, and, you didn't really have a streamlined hierarchy. In 1998 happened, as y'all know, with the BCS, and then we've gone through a couple of iterations since then, and now we're with the 12-team playoff. But with Pete Carroll didn't even match what Saban did, but he was unbelievable. Urban Meyer, Dabo, and Kirby. But what Saban did for about a 13-year period? I know he was there longer, but I'm talking about where he was just dominating, is build a program built on all these analysts, all these recruiters, and high school recruiting and junior college recruiting, and loading the boat and keeping guys for at least 3 years till they go to the NFL draft. And Bama had plenty of players who stayed for their senior year. And he did that by building more depth than anybody had, maybe even than, and it's hard to really run the numbers, but maybe even more than Paul Bear Bryant and Woody Hayes had in 1977, because they, signed a bunch of kids on swimming scholarships and blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is, all of us know what Saban built and how efficient he was and how cutting edge he was. And he had the organizational structure that worked at that time with high school recruiting and junior college recruiting. Fast forward to what Kurt Cignetti has done. I'm even more impressed with Cignetti doing this at Indiana. Bama had already proven to be a power. It was just getting the right guy in. They had tripped over themselves, as y'all know. I mean, Ray Perkins following Bear Bryant was extremely difficult. Then Bill Curry didn't really work. Stallings did, and then they went through Dubose and Francione, and Sherman never even coached a game. Not Sherman. Mike, what's his name from Washington State, who got caught in the strip club in Pensacola?
Nice.
It's kind of a setup, it looked like, didn't it? Then Mike Shula, and then we got to Saban. And so what he did was extraordinary and amazing, and it was very Google and, Amazon-like, just in football. And same thing with what Kurt Signetti is doing, except he doesn't have the 4- and 5-star players, but his roster's full of 23-year-olds. And he obviously can evaluate both G5 and Power 4 people, right? And do it at a super high level that can come in and play. How they signed all those guys at James Madison who now can play in the Power 4 and play at a high, and play at a high level is confusing to me, but I'm blown away with. So whatever he was doing, he worked under Saban for several years at Alabama. He took a lot of that and what his dad taught him and so on. And then it was kind of the perfect storm, him coming out of the Alabama football program, going to IUPU and then James Madison and dominating people. But how did he bring 13 players from James Madison, netting out like 9 of them that could play at this level and beat and embarrass people like Alabama and Oregon, who are top 5 recruiters? And Oregon has been heavily involved in the portal, and they were absolutely. And so not only has Oregon recruited top 5 classes since Lanning went out there because he's a machine like Mario Cristobal, but they've been heavily involved in the portal when they wanted to be. Right. And they have unlimited funds, as we all know, because we've gone over this too many times with Phil Knight being the owner, creator, and still the guy at Nike. I wonder what that conversation was like. Hey, we spent more than anybody else, and Indiana just thumped you and embarrassed. I mean, Kurt Signetti, what he did to Oregon should be illegal on Friday night, right?
Just bad.
I mean, should Oregon step away from the Big Ten?
They figure something out.
Okay.
They're the laughing stock right now.
That may be a little. You may have gone a little extreme there.
They got beat.
No doubt they got blown out.
They're Alabama's best friend right now.
Well, I was on Tuscaloosa Sports Talk Radio Friday, and let's just say they're not in a good place either in Tuscaloosa after getting embarrassed by Indiana. Because they don't care that Kurt Signetti's awesome. No. They still look at Indiana like they're Vanderbilt from a few years ago.
Correct.
I promise. I mean, that's because we're very collegiate. Once we decide this is what we believe in sports, it's virtually impossible for any of us to change our mind on what we thought at 16, 18, 20 years old, if not before. But especially I think at the here and the now too. I mean, we're still looking at it going, how in the hell is Indiana doing this? Embarrassed, not just beating Bama 28-27, embarrassing them. Not just beating Oregon, but beating them 56-22.
People crying in the stands.
You got people crying in the stands. I mean, you had mascara running. I don't know what's going to happen here. Are the Ducks going to be able to recover? What?
We got a comment on the YouTube comment section.
Oh, how do we tell me?
At Reggie Hankerson.
Okay.
Hits us with Fernando Mendoza. Definitely an angry bird. I'm telling you. He looks like that freaking the video game character.
Angry Bird?
And he's playing like a video game character.
What
were his?
On the text line, Steve and Brandon, Bo, how did all the other athletic directors miss on Kurt Signetti?
There we go.
I think he just didn't
jump off the screen at you or something.
He's quirky. He was at James Madison.
None of that.
I think athletic directors worry about the press conference more than the 12 press conferences after every game in the fall.
Yeah.
And also you have to understand Indiana had nothing to lose.
Right.
I mean, their athletic director's playing with house money because nobody gives a damn about Indiana Hoosiers football. And so he'd won 90% of his games at James Madison. The guy said, well, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah. Give him a whirl.
And boom, the rest is history. They're playing for the national championship.
I mean, like I said, we need a federal indictment on the other ADs.
A federal indictment.
I think they're just using our money just to play with us now. That guy's been sitting there forever.
Oh, man.
Just sitting there.
And we've all fallen in love with his facial expressions.
Yeah, lack of.
And the 9,000 or 9 million memes that have come out of him coaching on the sideline, where he looks like the quirky kind of, he looks like you didn't get home for curfew in time, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's the look that he's always giving.
No
it
doubt.
just depends on which way he's turned and standing on the field. And sometimes his glasses are down and that whole deal. But he's got a little biochemistry professor in him, maybe accounting professor. Fair?
Dude.
And then he does have coach in him.
Oh, yeah.
He's off the charts bright. And I think he was already a good coach, and then he got under Saban. And as he said, I learned more with Saban than I had in the 27 years of coaching prior to getting to Tuscaloosa.
That surprise you?
No.
Nah.
Look at Lane.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Lane had to get right. And he didn't like it. Like, Cignetti embraced it.
Yeah.
Cignetti embraced all the early mornings and it's known, and Lane was notorious or whatever for not showing up on time. And the fact that Saban, I guess it goes to show you how talented Lane was in resurrecting rebooting the Alabama offense at that time. And maybe Monty Kiffin, I don't know, because Lane may have gotten fired 13 times while he was there.
Right.
But then, not really fired because I'm firing you, and I'm mad, but you better still be in the building 3 hours from now when I walk back down and we go through what the quarterbacks are going to do this week against A&M.
I mean, against every.
This happens in other businesses and industries where you've got a very talented person who is not going to really go by the rules, but he's so talented, you're going to fire him, but you don't really fire him.
Nah.
But now Jake Coker talks about him being late. I mean, this is unbelievable. Starting quarterback at the University of Alabama. Can you imagine him, the backup, and 3 walk-ons sitting in the QB room for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours a week, every single week, and your QB/OC coach is late X amount of percentage of the time, and yet you got to have him because he's such a damn good play caller and QB coach.
On Saban's staff.
Evidently, Saban would rant and rave non-stop about where Lane was.
He probably needed a therapist.
Of course, I can only imagine where he was.
Right.
What apartment or what condo, and I'll just leave it there.
Hanging out.
I think a lot of people were probably laughing in the office, not in front of Saban, because they knew where he was sleeping in.
Yeah, then he walks in and wins.
And then now Lane got sober, went to another rehab at Florida Atlantic, goes to Ole Miss, was incredible, and now Lane likes to tweet at 4:30 in the morning because he's turned into a total early bird. Yep. I mean, what was it, last week or the week before I got in? I can't remember. And he had tweeted, I felt like I was doing pretty good on that morning. He had tweeted like an hour and 20 minutes before I got here.
Jeez.
Isn't that crazy how things change?
People.
Now, here Lane is, early bird guy. He did not understand why they had to meet at 7:30 in the morning at Alabama. He especially didn't understand when they won the national championship and Saban called a meeting for the next morning at 7:30.
Oh.
I know.
For what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just skipped that one.
A day from Kentucky says, Jackson is killing it this morning. LOL. Yeah. I didn't know you were. Well, congratulations, my man.
Well, I mean, it's Monday.
Right. You woke up this morning and you said, I'm kicking Monday in the freaking pants.
My Monday.
Yeah. This is Jackson Meadows Monday.
Right. I mean, it's cold outside, so I figured I needed to bring the heat.
Who sang that song, Manic Monday? Was it Cyndi Lauper? I can't remember.
It was the Bangles.
It was the Bengals. Okay. They were playing it on the boat last summer.
Prince dropped a little something for Manic Monday as well.
Prince did?
Yeah. Another recording
How
of it.
crazy talented was he? All right. So what do we have let's switch gears. We just went hardcore sports.
Yeah,
that was way too. What was wrong with me?
Well,
I'm about to have Steve Robertson and Tom Luganville on. Golly, we need to do we already need to go home? Take a time out like Lane did?
It's late.
It is. I mean, we've already been here an hour plus. I don't know what to do with this. I don't really. Oh, it's National Work Harder Day.
Oh,
Does that fit you?
That's what I came to do.
Okay. I thought so.
I didn't know what else to do.
Right. National Gluten Free Day. That's the biggest nonsense in the world.
When they tell you no one cares, work harder.
What now?
That saying, no one cares, work harder.
That's right.
It's probably true.
That's right. Or no one cares, results matter.
That's
it. Yeah. Doesn't matter how hard you work. If you can get where you got to go, nobody cares.
Results.
For some people, it takes an hour. For others, it may take 4 hours.
It's fine.
That's right. Hey, what do you think about our Juice Kiffin bobblehead doll?
Juice is loose.
Juice is loose in the studio. So if you're watching the show on YouTube, you can go to Out of Bounds Sports. That's our channel on YouTube.
Got some
Out of Bounds Sports. And we're live right now. It'll be live throughout the show with Steve Robertson and Tom Luganville coming up. Well, the guy who owns the bobblehead company, and I can't remember his name, but he'll ship me stuff every now and then. I get home on Friday, and you can see it on the set. I've got a Juice Kiffin bobblehead doll.
Oh, yeah, I'm zooming in on it.
It's really cool, isn't it?
Oh, I mean, it's a great bobblehead.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
You know, some people are bobblehead collectors, obviously.
Right.
This would be one that they would need in their collection.
So we have Lane Kiffin up here. We've had his bobblehead up here forever.
Yeah, for sure.
Got the Ole Miss and LSU helmets because of what happened this last 2 months.
Right.
And now we've got Juice Kiffin up here.
Wins.
What
else are we supposed to? I told you, now we can go home.
What was the final deal? Did Juice Kiffin end up? I'd like to ask our listeners.
Yeah.
Did he end up in Baton Rouge? There's too many stories and too much drama. I couldn't keep up with everything. Did Juice Kiffin end up going to Baton Rouge? Or did he end up staying in Oxford? The Golden Moon Casino text line is 601-885-3776. We are the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone ESPN. We're driven by Fowler GMC, right there, Pearl Brandon. If you're in the market for a truck or SUV, pre-owned or new, Fowler GMC. They got the GMC Sierra trucks, which are really good looking. Oh, yeah. And they have the GMC Yukons and GMC Yukon Denali's and many other makes and models. Fowler is spelled Fowler, FowlerGMC.com. FowlerGMC.com. Rebel Elijah said, Bo, he's in Baton Rouge. Lane posted yesterday a pic of him with Lane's nephew. Okay. I didn't know that. How did I miss that?
So Juice made the move. Juice
made the move to Baton Rouge.
Cool.
There'll be plenty of crawfish etouffee, jambalaya, and Mardi Gras beads for Juice. Is Lane going to end up being one of the grand marshals?
Dang right.
For one of the Mardi Gras parades?
All day. I mean, if he's not, he's at least the head of a float.
And he'll have his daughter and her friends videoing him on TikTok so that he'll reach, 12 million people or whatever.
Does LSU not have a float in that? I feel like they've got to, right?
Oh, I would think if LSU wants a float or multiple floats.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're like business school and engineering school and other people under the umbrella of LSU. Yeah, that's a great point. I'm sure they have some floats in one of the parades somewhere.
Do, yeah. Oh, yeah, Mardi Gras Mike. It's Mike the Tiger, blown up as a 30-foot thing. It's the tiger, actual tiger.
Mike the Tiger.
30-foot fiberglass
Oh, they take him out on the thing?
Well, not the actual tiger. They just built a replica.
Oh,
That's
got
huge.
it. Got it. I thought they put him on some kind of big float
No, that's
and made sure he was
bad
a
idea.
cage. Yeah, it probably is with
Oh
a bunch
my
of
God.
drunk Louisiana people.
Somebody will go up there and lift the lock.
Yeah, somebody gets
And then-
cute, and then all of a sudden we got a
oh
problem.
my gosh.
It's all fun and games, and then you turn around and you've had a couple of beers, and
Yeah,
there's a
comes the
tiger
tiger,
staring at you, and he's hungry.
I don't think the tiger lasts long in LSU. They're down in there.
Nah.
So everybody's got one on their hip. That tiger ain't getting far.
Woo.
They'd have to put old Mike down.
Yeah.
It's a 30-foot fiberglass create. That is huge.
That is big, man.
So does he? I remember my question is, does he put a saddle on that thing and ride it?
Got to.
Got to.
Because if you're not, you're
What do you-
not really in.
Yeah,
you're not
what do you do?
committed.
There are people on top of this thing. Yeah, you put a saddle
Really?
up there. Yeah.
Wow.
They
We
do-
need to get invited to a. You think Jermaine could get us in?
like get us in. Yeah.
Like on some kind of Mardi. Well, Detillier's been
He's
a.
always, yeah.
I think there's a bunch of like, maybe not grant, maybe I don't know what the terminology is, but he's been like the main guy on a
Right.
parade.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe the Grand Marshal of X parade.
Sure.
But between Mike Detillier
Oh, dude.
and Jermaine Benoit, do you think you and I can get on a float?
That's just scratching the surface.
Or is there anybody on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, because they throw huge
down,
parties just like
right.
Mobile does?
Right.
We need to get on a float on the Mississippi Gulf Coast or in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because you'd get dressed up and look like a combination of David Bowie and Elton John,
Dude.
but with a Mardi Gras flavor
Hard.
in a heartbeat.
Hard.
Okay.
Love Mardi Gras.
Yeah. All right. All right. So we have our takeaway today is that Kurt Signetti is running our special forces along with the head football coach at Indiana. He had the blueprints and the plan on Venezuela 4 months ago.
Right. Yeah.
So he was operating that while also leading Indiana to the national championship. Is that fair?
Fair.
Okay. He's probably the head of AI for Google.
Yeah.
And so he's pulling kind of three shifts here
Right.
for the better good
Of humanity, baby.
of humanity.
That's it.
That's right. If anybody can save this country and this world,
Sign 'em up.
it could come back. It could come down to Kurt Signetti. All right. Boy, if you bought Kurt Signetti stock
No one did.
out of the gate,
No one did.
but there's always somebody.
Yeah, the Indiana AD.
Well, thank you. Yes. The Indiana athletic director.
He may be the only one that cashed.
That's a good point. That's a good point. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We're brought to you by Eye Care Professionals. 2 locations on Lakeland Drive. If you need cataract surgery, Eye Care Professionals. Routine eye exam, glasses, contacts, all that. Checkups. Eye Care Professionals. Dr. Kirk Jeffries. 2 locations on Lakeland Drive. Steve Robertson coming up next. Tom Lugan, Bill at 8:30.
Stand by for audio. Got it.
It's 8 a.m., and you're tuned to Mississippi's #1 choice for non-stop sports. The Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bound. WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
This is Al Warning.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bound. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
All right, good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Brought to you by Kessler Prime and the Renaissance. Great steaks and seafood, KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. We welcome in Steve Robertson, JeansPage.com, 247 Sports. Steve joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. All right, Steve, let's talk portal and Levy, and they've been able to retain some guys. Give me your top. I mean, I'm thinking it's going to be Kelly Jones and Isaac, but you can rip through 4 or 5 guys, however you want to do it. Give me your top retention guys that Levy and Butler and them have been able to retain to date on the Mississippi State football team. Steve?
Well, I think you probably got the two you were most worried about. Anthony Evans is another one, even though he hadn't made a formal proclamation. We feel pretty confident about him hanging in there. Of course, we'll, breathe a lot better once the 16th comes and goes and the portal window closes. But, because sometimes things get a little squirrely there at the end. But you're right. It's not just about player acquisition. It's about player retention. And I feel like State's got a good nucleus of players returning. And so you got to build around them. And that process is still ongoing.
All right. So, Anthony Evans, what do you put, 99% on that?
Oh, yeah, I'd say, I expect him back, and I think it's one of these things too. I think you've gotten so deep in the weeds now and so many spots have been taken up. I think if you were going to go, you'd want to get in earlier than this, it's dead period begins today, so the dead period's going to run for 3 days while the AFCA convention's going on. Then you can resume official visits on the 15th and, then the portal closes on the 16th for everybody other than the players in the FBS National Championship game. They've got to the 24th. And so to wait this late is almost kind of doing a disservice to yourself.
Okay. Who are you? Give me 2 or 3 of the guys that have committed that they've gotten in the portal that you believe can be legit SEC players and starters day one.
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's a question that everybody has, right? Because you've gotten some guys that are depth pieces, right? It's not just about getting starters. You've got to get some guys to kind of replace some of those players that, processed out, guys that just didn't develop. But, you got 14 right now. Amari Williams is a guy that I don't think people are talking enough about. He is a legitimate edge, actually has played tight end and edge in college. But he is going to profile as an edge at Mississippi State. 6'4", 240-pound, got a lot of little bursts with him. And I think he has some twitch that maybe State didn't have at the edge last year. L.J. Prudhomme is a guy that we like a lot. And matter of fact, State nearly got him out of high school. It basically came down to Arkansas and Mississippi State. But Sam Pittman was really involved in that one, and Sam won out. And LJ, I'll still tell you, man, Sam's his guy. And love Sam, and I really believe if they'd retained Sam, LJ would have stayed. But he's the guy that I think will work at one of the guard spots and be a starter for you next year. And then Marquise Johnson, that guy can absolutely fly. He's one of the most athletic wide receivers in the portal, and that's who State opened the class with. And, of course, this cornerback room is going to look completely different. Yeah, it was the thing last year. You had Kelly Jones, but you didn't have a lot of people that profiled like him physically. And Diego Brumfield played on the other side, did the best he could. But, the reality of it is he's not near as lean and long as some of those guys. We look at that room now, and you just kind of run it off, man. There's a lot of guys that, look a lot like Kelly Jones. Maybe they don't have that same level of athleticism, but that room is going to be a lot more athletic than it was last year.
Steve Robertson, Jeans Page, 247 Sports. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. This is 105.9 The Zone, ESPN Mississippi State trying to get going. Year 3 of Levy, they won 5 games, but were 1-8 on the way out, or something like that. And it was post Northern Illinois. It was a challenge, to say the least. Steve, they decided to go another direction with Luke Work, starting offensive lineman out of the Memphis area. And Luke is now going to Missouri. Did that surprise you?
It did a little bit, to be honest with you. And quite honestly, I think when you look at the dynamics of the one portal window recruiting phase, right? Because last year it's like, well, if you didn't get it in December, maybe you can clean it up in the spring. Well, you don't have that option anymore. As a result, we're seeing premium position guys go for almost double what they did last year. And so even if you think, okay, we're going to increase our budget by this, well, the asking price for guys has gone up considerably. And so I think when, not that these numbers will be made public, but I still believe they should be. But I think if you go back and you look, you would say, you know what, you probably could have gotten Luke Work to stay for less money than it took to replace him. And those are the things you got to work through, and everything is a gamble. But, Luke Work's a guy that he's a legacy guy and started the year a little bit banged up. But I think people forget how well he played last year at left tackle as a true freshman. And this year you try to make a guard out of him. And he was a little bit banged up and had some struggles at time and, moved around multiple times. But, I would have liked to have kept him. I just think, number one, I think he's good enough to play here. And there were some people that, were, suggesting that he wasn't, and then he goes in the portal and he gets offers and official visit invites from Oklahoma, Missouri, and South Carolina. So if he's good enough to play elsewhere in the league, chances are he's good enough to play here.
Damn. Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds show. Jeff Levy going into year 3. All right, the running back room is Fluff and who?
Well, you got Fluff and you got Gayton and you got J.J. Hill and, Cooper Crosby and Colin Wilson. I mean, that's a position that State did not have to worry about going into the portal. I think you're in great shape there. Matter of fact, I think you probably look at that and say that's probably your best room on the offensive side of the football. And, Fluff, expecting him to be 100% when spring opens. But, there's a lot of depth there. I mean, I think when you look at the talent in that room for 2026, it exceeds what you had in 2025, and you felt pretty good about the room then. But, I'm interested to see how much J.J. Hill and Cooper will play as true freshmen. Levy has kind of run a 2-back system, but he kind of won a third and a fourth guy occasionally. So I think ideally maybe you'd like to redshirt those guys, but there's a part of me, I think you've got to get their feet wet because Fluff's probably going pro next year.
Okay, everybody's asking about the offensive line. I've got a minute. You just won't know it. How do you look at it? You really won't know anything until you see them play live in games, or do you think that they're upgrading?
Well, I think it's too early to make that determination, but we're expecting 2 offensive line commitments to announce today. One of those guys I do expect to be a starter for this team next year, and the other one's probably a 2 deep. He's a younger guy that you guys are somewhat familiar with, but I think he'll fill a spot for a guy like maybe Luke Work, a guy that's an outgoing player. But we expect a couple more. But you feel good about the interior, but where State's got to get a couple of athletic tackles. Jalen Matthews is a guy from Florida State's got a lot of potential, but he hadn't played much ball. You need to get some guys with some snaps under their belt to man those tackle positions.
All right, on the way out, I've got less than a minute. Anything else that I didn't hit?
Well, I think, when you begin to look at this defensive line group, I think you're probably a defensive tackle away from feeling much better about that group. And I think that's coming pretty soon, too. All
right. And Arnett will make the defense better, without a doubt. It's just how much better. All right. We'll do this again later in the week. Thanks, Steve.
See you, bud.
GenesPage.com, 247 Sports. A little update. We hadn't had Steve on in over a week. Maybe I should bring him on every day this week. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Tom Luganbill at 8:30 on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. All right, good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. When was the last time, if ever, we have witnessed or experienced something like what Curt Cignetti has done at Indiana? I guess never in collegiate athletics because of this new model we've got in the last 5 years. Could we even take it back to another era and say, here's some similarities, overlap of what Cignetti, the model that he has, how incredible he is at everything that we always talk about, evaluating, developing coaches, X's and O's, organizational structure, knowing who they are and what they are and exactly what player he wants at every single position. Of course, his coaching staff, when will that start getting ripped apart?
Right.
I think that's another question. It doesn't look like they were poached maybe at the level that you would think.
Still don't know who they are.
Right.
No one knows who they. I mean,
So Cignetti is such.
Yeah.
He is casting his shadow. You know, he's kind of sucking all the oxygen up in the room. We haven't found that coordinator. We love to fall in love with coordinators now.
Sure.
Okay, and pitching coaches in SEC baseball, and I guess to a certain extent, assistant coaches in basketball. Maybe not as much, but offensive and defensive coordinators, God, we even talk. I mean, this is how crazy we all are, and we're absolutely bat blank crazy. We talk about strength and conditioning coaches because there's a lot of talk on the Mississippi State boards about whether or not they have somebody who's up. The whole department, S&C, strength and conditioning. You know, is it what it needs to be? One thing that Dan did after spending 9 seasons under Urban Meyer, or maybe more than that, Notre Dame, Bowling Green, Utah, and Florida. I know Urban wasn't the head coach at Notre Dame, but he was a legit coach. Dan was a GA. I don't even think we had analysts in the late 90s. If we did, not many people did. But you know, we all have lived the big coordinators. Will Muschamp was supposed to be the next great one. Jimbo Fisher out of Saban. Pete Carroll had Sark and Kiffin and several others come through. Urban, of course, had Dan and many others, Adazio and Charlie Strong, and there were others. Curt Cignetti, I don't think has been poached for that first real big sweep of like losing that I know of,
right?
Like 4 or 5 assistant coaches, because all we're talking about is him.
When did that start to happen?
That will happen next year.
Oh, yeah.
If they can, well, first of all, if they win it all, that'll be great.
Right.
I think most positions are filled for most, not all, for 2026. I guess you still got the coaches convention, but what the hell does that mean this day and age compared to 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago when a lot happened there? I guess things still happen. And maybe you're planning for the future instead of like hiring somebody right then. There are exceptions. But
how do you tell Cignetti I'm leaving?
Easily, you walk in and say, I got a better offer.
Yeah, true. And I think he would be the type of like, well, great, see you later.
Yeah, I mean, he bounced around.
Yeah.
I mean, so now a lot of these guys have been with him for a minute.
Yeah.
Through James Madison, even some IUPU. And again, none of y'all have ever watched James Madison play football unless you bet on it or you had a kid there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know who he was.
And evidently he loved drinking scotch 250 years ago. And then Indiana, you haven't watched anything Indiana since Bobby Knight was good. And they haven't been good since the 90s, really.
What is the most recent thing you can tell me about Indiana outside of Cignetti?
Chris Lamonis was their baseball coach and left there to take the Mississippi State coach.
Okay, all right, that's a good one. Give me one more. Is there anything that doesn't directly affect this state?
Indiana.
I mean,
you talking about the Hoosiers or just Indiana? Period.
Yeah, well, Hoosiers.
I mean, because if I'm thinking Indiana, period, I think of Peyton Manning.
Who?
Well,
the bobblehead. Yeah.
No. Yeah, the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, with the huge head. Yeah.
But because Indiana when I was growing up, they were great. I mean, Knight had a juggernaut. People couldn't stop talking about his motion offense, and people couldn't stop talking about the way they played defense.
What?
and the way that they would spread the floor and understanding spacing at the collegiate level, probably more than, I don't know, Dean Smith also ran a hell of a motion offense, but you know where I'm going.
For a second, I was about to ask you, did he create that offense?
He gets credited for the motion offense,
Really?
but I'm not sure that is. I haven't done any kind of deep dive, so
wow.
I don't know.
didn't
By
know
the way, it's just like the spread.
Yeah.
People are going to say that they've been running some kind of variation of that for X amount of years. The one thing that I remember about Indiana Hoosiers basketball growing up was 1981 Isaiah Thomas, which I loved him at Indiana, and 1987 Final Four that I went to. And Steve Alford. That's it. And the fact that Bob Knight ended up having fractured relationships with everybody that was Mike Krzyzewski. They didn't talk for I don't know how long, because Krzyzewski beat him in the early 90s in the NCAA tournament. There was the real quick brush by handshake. It upset Mike. They didn't talk for years. He and Steve Alford got sideways. But, I mean, I don't think it should surprise you, because if you read the book Season on the Brink, you know that everything Knight, he was a mad genius, and then everything else was volatile in his life. But that's a lot of men and women that are that talented.
Right.
They're maniacs, both professionally and personally.
Oh, we had Indiana forever.
Nobody's watched Indiana football until last year or this year. And now you watch them, and they're blowing out Alabama and Oregon with top 5 recruiting classes left and right.
We may need to bring our Indiana insider on.
I forgot who that is.
Mackenzie Salmon.
She is awesome. She came up here and did the red beans and
Oh,
rice
she
cook-off judge. And when she would come on the show, she was great.
She came to all our events.
She came to the cornhole
Dude,
stuff.
Mackenzie rules. She's
And
great.
brought friends.
Yeah, she did.
Then they had a dance-off.
It's facts.
I mean, that lady can dance.
She's
she got out there on that green turf space where we had the DJ.
Oh, yeah.
When we were doing the Out of Bounds Cornhole Classic.
I recall.
And her and her friend, well, she made everybody look ridiculous.
Well, yeah.
She can move.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, she.
So-
I mean, maybe that's the only Indiana thing I can remember.
She may have been on a dance team at some point in high school or college, because when she got out on the, whatever you want to call it, the dance turf, it was over.
Her turf.
It was her turf.
Yeah, man, it was her.
Because we had those Tito's blueberry drinks.
Yeah, they were good.
That Jerry got. I'd never heard of doing
What was it?
Tito's and blueberry lemonade.
Okay, yeah.
Or it's the blueberry, simply lemonade blueberry.
Yes.
And
Darn
it's
it.
really easy. You may want to cut it with some club soda. But
Forgot all about that.
all those events were done in the late spring or summer, so it was warm. That first one we did, I think we all almost fell out.
Yeah.
God bless Blake.
Yeah.
It was 130 degrees out at the Renaissance on that green
It was
space.
hot.
And we had 400 people there. It was
There's
insanity.
a lot of people.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of people there.
I know.
That was tight.
So that's what we know about Indiana.
Yeah, we got Mackenzie Salmon.
Mackenzie Salmon has been in this studio, and she's an IU grad.
She is.
Okay.
And she's killing it.
And Chris Lamona's was the head baseball coach at Indiana.
There we go.
And Lee Corso was the head football coach at Indiana. And then we all know about Bob Knight.
Yeah.
And Kelvin Sampson got rung up on 830 recruiting violations when he was their coach for about 5 minutes. And give him credit. He went and did an NBA rehab.
Right.
And now he's
Killing.
crushing it with the Houston Cougars.
Real quick, let you know, Glenn Tiger Ellison was the creator of the motion offense back in the 40s and 50s.
Okay.
Bob Knight was the one that made it famous.
Okay. And I guess Bob probably learned it at Army while he was there, maybe. I don't know.
Tex Winter, Dean Smith.
Oh, I remember Tex Winter. Tom Luganville coming up next. Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Brought to you by Total Transportation of Mississippi, offering nationwide and regional routes. Total Transportation of Mississippi, weekly pay, monthly bonuses, full benefits, frequent home time, all powered by TotalMS.com. Apply today, TotalMS.com. Nationwide and regional routes, Total Transportation of Mississippi. Apply today, TotalMS.com. We're 105.9 The Zone ESPN. I'm your host, Bo Bounds, the Out of Bounds Show. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. We welcome in Tom Luganville, National College Football Analyst with ESPN. Lugs, when's the first time you met or heard of Curt Cignetti?
Well, obviously he's got a long-standing history in the sport. That last name goes back a long way in the sport. And so I think he's got a brother. It would probably have been time at Pitt or Alabama.
Okay. All right.
I think his brother's Frank.
Okay. And his dad was a hell of a coach?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so you either ran into him at Pitt or Alabama. Why do you think you know how we are in college football? Whoever the hot coach is, everybody preys on those assistants, right? I mean, we can go back to Pete Carroll, Urban Meyer, Nick, Dabo. You know the drill. All right.
Kirby.
So, Kirby, exactly. Why he's obviously he's quirky. He's off the charts bright. He's the flavor of the month right now in college football. Why do you think, even after coaching under Saban, when Saban was hotter, when Bama was hotter than hot, as you know, you went through there a million times. Why do you think he had to go to IUPU and James Madison for as long as he did before getting a shot at one of the worst college football programs in the history of college football, Luke?
Well, listen, he actually didn't have to. He chose to. You know, he went to Nick Saban when he was a position coach and says, hey, I want to be a head coach one day, and I've got an opportunity to be a head coach at IUPI with no coordinator experience, none of that stuff. And he basically bet on himself. And he went out and he found whatever it was he was looking for that he needed to dive into to have a leadership role, become a head coach, and work through the whole thing, and then slowly work himself up the ranks of the profession. I mean, you talk about a guy who completely and totally went out and did this on his own. I mean, obviously when you start out as a GA and then, you know, you hope to get this job and move here and then, you know, move up and take this job and you become a position coach and then, you know, eventually a coordinator if you're going along the normal path of rising in the profession. Well, he basically sacrificed being where he was at, or becoming a higher level assistant coach, working himself up at bigger programs to jump into a head coaching role where there was more risk, less notoriety, probably less chance of success, and completely bet on himself.
Yeah, people don't do that. I mean,
no,
not when you're
like Jerry Kill. Remember Jerry Kill?
Yeah.
So Jerry Kill, he did exactly that. He took the Saginaw Valley State job. All right, they were terrible. He turned them into a winner. Then he went down to some small school in Kansas, turned them into a winner. Then goes to Southern Illinois, turns them into a winner. Then goes to Northern Illinois, turns them into a winner. And all of these places were terrible when he arrived. And then he gets the Minnesota job, turns them into a winner. But, like, some of these guys just – and to be honest with you, I know there's a lot of criticism right now on Kalen DeBoer. He's self-made.
Yeah.
He did the exact same thing, right? And so you got to have a lot of respect for it.
Yeah, I love the path because it's so unorthodox, right? It's not what we all train we all think of all the Pete Carroll guys that just left and got and a lot of them too early, as we've discussed with you, right? Lane and Sark got the gold too early. And then you got somebody like Cignetti that doesn't get a P4 job till he's 61 years old. Isn't that remarkable, Luke?
Yeah, it is pretty crazy, right? It's unbelievable.
We are all, you and I get to cover the game, but we're also fans. And so we're all obsessed and we admire these coaches that are able to go somewhere, win at a high level. And of course, Signetti's doing that. And we get obsessed with the process. So as you've been around Pete Carroll and Urban and Kirby and Saban and Dabo for the last 25 years, how did Signetti do this? I mean, it's not like he was heavily involved in the portal at James Madison, but he understood in 5 seconds when hired at Indiana, one, I'm going to bring these 13 players with me, but then we're also going to be ready to dive into the portal immediately. Why do you think he's been so successful out of the gate at Indiana, Luke?
Because he targeted proven production and experience over talent and youth alone. Meaning that, and there's been a lot of talk about this on the internet, and it's very, very true. Look at their roster and look how old it is. And it is really hard to be old in college football right now. I mean, it's littered with grad transfers, fifth-year seniors, redshirt seniors, redshirt juniors, like all across the board at key spots. So they're very, very experienced across the board. And then I just think that he valued production over hype or somebody who was highly sought after coming out of high school but hadn't played yet. He looked at that and said, okay, that guy might be really talented, but he can't help me right now.
Right.
I need to go find somebody who maybe isn't quite as talented, but has started 33 games somewhere and can come help me right now. So, like, those guys, that's where the whole thing started with Curtis Rourke. Because Curtis Rourke was a highly productive, multi-year starter at Ohio University in the MAC, where they had back-to-back 10-win seasons, and I think he had started close to 30-some-odd games. So he's looking at that guy saying, that guy's productive, he's accurate, he's talented, he's played a lot. I would like that guy over a host of these other guys over here who haven't played. And right now, as we're sitting here doing this call, I'm actually in the process right now of because I have to handle a lot of our quarterback rankings for the transfer portal, our overall top-level rankings, our portal fits from one school to another and all this and that. And I can tell you right now, like Brendan Thorsby, Byram Brown, Rocco Beck, Josh Hoover, Drew Mestamaker, there's a bunch of guys out there that have played a ton of football, right? But let's just take Deuce Knight, all right? So Deuce Knight, who was at Auburn, goes into the portal. He started one game against an FCS opponent as a freshman last year, and then redshirted. But he doesn't help you immediately. These other guys help you immediately. And that's what Curt Cignetti targeted position-wide across the board.
Tom Luganville, national college football analyst with ESPN on the Out of Bounds show. Yeah, so he hit on the quarterback back-to-back in the portal.
Yep.
And, I mean, is he the best evaluator in college football right now?
He might be. He might be the best evaluator in college football. I tell you what, they're the most prepared football team in college football. They're the best coach team.
I mean, he embarrassed Oregon. They're a top 5 recruiter. You know that better than anybody. You've run recruiting for a long time.
Yeah. Right. No, I understand that. But again, I think what happens is when you're talented and you're old, you can trump talented and young, especially when you don't beat yourself. I mean, we talked about this last week on the show. I told you point blank. If you're going to beat Indiana, you have to beat them. They're not going to beat themselves. So if you go out there and you screw it up, you got no shot at winning. And that's just, I mean, this is a team that has had, do you know that they have lost one fumble, one, in 15 weeks?
Wow.
And it came in the first game of the season, and that has never happened in the history of FBS football.
Wow.
One. And it happened in the first week of the season. That's impossible. Like that, even bad luck.
Right.
Just sheer luck would cause you to lose a couple of those. I think I said it to you last week. You know, they went into that game last week. They had 11 defensive penalties the entire season. The entire season?
What?
How many times do we look in a box score on a Sunday morning and we see somebody go, oh my God, they had 12 penalties yesterday. They've had 11 on defense the entire year, right? They don't give up negative plays. They don't give up explosive plays. They've had the fewest called penalties for defensive pass interference of any team in college football, right? The quarterback's elite. They've got a run game, all right? Their offensive center is elite. They're all old. Like this, there are so many things about them. And so when you go out and you play them, and I'm sitting here, I got to do ACC PM tonight, and a lot of our talk's going to be the preview and the Miami and Indiana matchup.
Sure.
You know, the thing is, it's going to be a front game as it always is when you get to this point. Right. But the question is, can Miami match Indiana's execution and flawless ability to avoid mistakes? Because nobody else has matched it yet. Nobody.
Oh, I think you tell me. You're the football guy. Tom Luganville, ESPN, on the Out of Bounds show, and the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. I think now Miami, you said it last week, and you went into it was really good analysis about Miami and the roster and what Cristobal has been able to do. I don't want to take anything away from that. And Heatherman, this DC hire, holy hell, he's good and all that. But I'll say this, Luke, so you tell me what you think. I thought Shannon Dawson almost cost them the OC for Miami, almost cost them the game against Ole Miss. They're ripping off almost 7 yards a carry, and he wants to throw. Carson Beck had no business throwing the ball 37 times the other night, the way that Miami was running the football. I thought they got cute. I thought they win by 2 scores. So here's and first of all, I'd like your thoughts on that, but then here's my takeaway from that. Shannon Dawson may get embarrassed by Indiana if he gets sped up and cute like he did against Ole Miss. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that Miami is the only team that gets in their own way. Just like I said, Miami is the only team that's beat Miami. When you look at the course of their record and the course of what they've done, their 2 losses, they turned the ball over 6 times. Everybody else, they've boat raced or they've beaten a top 10 ranked team, right? So everybody wants to have that discussion about, oh, did they belong and things of that nature. Well, we're way past that. Now we're to the question that you just asked is, okay, if you're going to win this whole thing, and you can line up and just win at the point of attack. Miami's got the best offensive line in college football. If you can win at the point of attack, don't get cute. Just wear them out. Look what they did in the fourth quarter on 3rd down. I mean, it was unbelievable the display of execution Miami had on 3rd down to win that game. But if you look at the A&M game, you look at the Ohio State game, and you look at the game versus Ole Miss, they've dominated the fourth quarter because they had worn people down. So why in the world would you get away from that in any way, shape, or form?
Okay, so the better coaching staff is Cignetti. Not that Miami doesn't have good coaches, but the better personnel is Miami. I'm thinking this is what you're thinking, and if it is, describe the gap to our listeners, if any.
The gap of talent?
Yeah.
Well, you can make the argument that Miami may have superior talent in many areas, not all, in many areas. So I think what I look at this, what this game comes down to, is Carson Beck is going to have to somehow match Fernando Mendoza's efficiency because that guy does not lose games, right? And as good as Carson Beck has been on this run, they have 2 losses because of Carson Beck. So to me, I think from a front standpoint, that's where this is going to be played. But when you get into this game, and it's the last one left, the quarterback's going to have to play out of his mind, whoever it is. But if it's Miami, Carson Beck's going to have to play better than Fernando Mendoza.
Damn. Okay. Tom Luganville with ESPN on the Out of Bounds show. What a matchup. Indiana and Miami. Okay, so Indiana has the edge at quarterback and coaching, and Miami has the edge with personnel. And I think their defensive coordinator levels up with Indiana as far as coaching.
I think both of those guys are rising young guys.
Okay.
Heatherman and Brian Haynes. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Do you believe that with Oregon getting embarrassed, Bama getting embarrassed by Indiana, Georgia was embarrassed in the second half, especially the third quarter, by Ole Miss. Do you see they're still not loading up in the portal? Not all these teams. Do you expect them to really make a shift away from? I mean, still grab high school recruits, but maybe half of what they've been grabbing, and the blue bloods to go more into the portal.
No, I think the top tier teams, even the teams that have lost, you got to understand that they've been playing from behind because they oftentimes don't know who's going to enter the portal off of their roster until they lose, right? While everybody else has already been working the portal. And so I also, I'm a firm believer in this, and I still back Dabo Swinney on this sentiment because I think it's true. If there's 6,000 people in the transfer portal, okay, and you are a college football playoff participant, how many of those guys in the portal are currently better than what you're playing with? Less than 1%, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe less than 2%. So when you say active, when we're talking about the Georgias or the Ohio States, I think it's a bit cyclical, and I think it's more based on need than it is based on going out there and just saying, all right, we got to bring in this amount of guys to help our roster. Because remember, those teams are going to have the best high school players, and if those high school players become developed and are any good, you don't need to go into the portal. Because there's your guy right there. That's where Miami and Mario Cristobal have gone so far past Florida and Florida State, is they have come up with this blend, whatever the formula is,
right,
of transfer portal additions and highly productive high school recruits that they signed that have become great players. Reuben Bain, Mark Fletcher, Malachi Toney, Francis Maui Noah, OJ Federic. Like, these are all guys who were high school guys that they signed. And then you blend in the Akeem Mesidors, right? And you blend in the Carson Becks or the Cam Wards and the CJ Daniels. And you have a core nucleus there. Florida State, if they miss on a transfer portal guy, they got no shot because they've done no investment in high school football players.
Okay. I like where you're going with this blend that Cristobal and his GM and others have come up with. Obviously,
Ohio State did it last year.
They did.
That was Ohio State last year.
That's
Think
true.
about it. They hit the quarterback. They did Caleb Downs. But then their running back,
Judkins.
Travion Henderson, Jeremiah Smith, right? Brandon Innes, Carnell Tate, all of those guys are high school guys. And they did it and had a nice little blend.
Okay. And then, like, Kiffin at LSU, now that he's at an elite recruiter, plus he started this journey 5 years ago, putting together the best scouting department in what is this new iteration of college football. It's going to be fascinating to see what blend Kiffin wants to do because they trip over 4 stars and get 5 stars occasionally, but then he loves the portal, right? So won't that be interesting to you, Luke's?
Absolutely, especially now that he's at a place in a state where you have no Power 4 competitor,
right,
and those kids grow up wanting to attend LSU, so they're kind of yours to lose. So if you can maintain possession of those guys in state, develop them, and get them integrated quickly so that they don't pick up their ball and go home and want to go into the portal, that's how you blend the portal there with the in-state talent that you don't have. Like, it's not like being in Alabama and Auburn, right?
Right.
You know, it's not like being in the state of Texas. You get to your pick of the litter. Now you got to develop them and get them involved so that they don't leave, and then blend the transfer portal guys with those guys.
Let me give you an example. Georgia only has 5 commitments in the portal. Now, we still have a week or so or whatever it is. But, does that do anything for you? Does that jump out at you as far as the number that Kirby's bringing in?
No, I think they're being selective. They're looking at the current roster that they have right now, and they're probably sitting up there looking at the board, and they've got guys ranked in the portal like everybody else. And as a staff, they're going, does that guy improve us? Like, do we have to have that guy? And if the answer is no, they're not going to force it. They'd rather develop a really good high school player that's going to be what they seem to be an elite player. But if it's a no-brainer and you're sitting there and you're looking at it, I mean, to me, if I'm sitting there looking at Georgia and you told me they signed 5 to 7 guys out of the portal, I'd say that's probably pretty appropriate.
Okay. And then Sark, another blue blood's kind of going, and everybody's model, if you do it right, there can be dozens of different models and as you know, ratios is what you're describing of a blend of high school and the portal. Texas is number 1 in the portal according to 247, and they have 13 commits. So it just kind of depends on where you are that year, how many people are leaving, how many people are possibly going pro, right?
Right, and look at where their commits are. Okay, who did they lose at wide receiver? Parker Livingstone, DeAndre Moore, right? Jamie French. They just left the program. So where's their need? And is the guy on the market better than what they have? They feel Cam Coleman is, right? So you go out and you make that guy a priority. Look at their running back room. Wisner, C.J. Baxter, all these guys, gone. All right, we have a need at running back. We got to go find out who's better than what we currently have. Okay, it's Hollywood Smothers and it's Raleek Brown out of ASU. So it's when you see what the departures are, and then you look at your internal roster as you have it now without an addition, you're now making a calculation. Do we have to go do something, or do we have good enough here to not have to deal with that and we can invest in our current roster? If not, we go out on the market and we target the best player we possibly can.
I don't know what your schedule is next week. So do you want to pick the
we
game?
We can do Monday again.
Okay. All right. Well, then we'll get.
I will be at the game, but we might have to do the earlier window again because I'm going to have a production meeting at 10 o'clock Eastern time.
Okay.
And then obviously we're doing a pregame show, a halftime show, and a postgame show for ACC Network. But we'll be able to work something out if you can go earlier next week like you did this week.
Absolutely. We appreciate it, Luke. Thank you, man.
All right, man. See you. Bye.
Tom Luganville, National College Football Analyst with ESPN. He joined us on the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by Visit Mississippi at Visit MS. So your next guys trip or bachelor party, where do you go? You go to the beautiful Mississippi Gulf Coast and enjoy the casinos and the amazing restaurants and the fishing and the golf, right? Guys trips, entertaining clients, bachelor parties powered by the beautiful, beautiful Mississippi Gulf Coast with casinos, resorts, golf courses, and incredible fishing, along with fabulous local restaurants. Your next bachelor party or guys trip powered by the beautiful Mississippi Gulf Coast. We are the Out of Bounds show. Bo Bounds, Jackson Meadows with you. On a Monday, Steve Robertson and Tom Luganville were fantastic. Don't forget that you can find our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. Back in a second.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
This is Al Warning.
Live in the studio.
It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Oh, man.
If you're smart, you go get somebody that's 300 pounds and smell like bacon that's ready to come out the end because we need defensive linemen.
Show is brought to you by Spring Street Cigars in Jackson. 3 stories, full bar. I don't know how many smoking lounges in the place. 6. Also a rooftop deck and bar. Spring Street Cigars in Jackson, in the building where the Rogue Men's Store is too. All right? So check it out. Enjoy it. And it's a great, great cigar lounge and bar. Spring Street Cigars is now in the same building where the Rogue Men's Store is located. Lunch today is brought to you by Taste Italian Kitchen in the Renaissance. And you can enjoy their amazing sandwiches and pastas and wood-fired pizzas, among other goodies. TasteItalianKitchen.com to make a reservation. You will need a reservation. TasteItalianKitchen.com to make a reservation. Bo Bounds, Jackson Meadows, with you as we head into another week of craziness. What's up?
I'm just looking at this Pittsburgh Pirates, I guess, board.
Oh.
Talking about how the one of their newest acquisitions became an instant fan favorite. Shocker.
Jake Mangum?
That's him. Took all of 25 minutes. He tweeted out. Oh, he just did a full throttle, raised the Jolly Roger. Yeah, with pirate flag emojis and all that. Yeah, he's what do you know? They like him too.
Well, so Jake Mangum will be in studio tomorrow for an hour. And that's going to be pretty awesome. And we look forward to it. Jake Mangum, Pittsburgh Pirate. He was a Tampa Bay Ray. Now a Pittsburgh Pirate. Jake Mangum will join us at 9 a.m. tomorrow in studio. Congratulations to Ole Miss basketball beating Mizzou over the weekend. Mississippi State went to Lexington and Rupp and up early by 10. And then things just fell apart and Kentucky blew them out. We'll get more and more into basketball. Well, it's going to depend on what the teams do.
Right.
And then also, at Mississippi State host Alabama tomorrow night. So Bama can, as you know, Bama can play. But Vanderbilt beat Bama. Man, is Vandy good or what? Holy moly. Golly. The Golden Moon Casino text line is 601-885-3776. Follow us on X at Bo Bounds. We like to tweet at us at Bo Bounds. And the Key City, Mississippi Queen caller line is 601-707-3750. Key City, Mississippi Queen. So I want to go over a couple of things with you. We've gone hardcore sports for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. 10 things we want to stop caring about in 2026.
All right.
You want to know what number 1 is?
Yeah.
What do you think it is? 10 things we want to stop caring about in 2026.
Should be what other people think of you.
Okay. Responding to text as soon as possible.
There we go. Because why?
I disagree. I think if you can, you want to rip off if it's important by any stretch.
Well, yeah.
In a few minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
but this
urgency.
one person said that they intentionally wait now because they don't want to establish an expectation.
I feel that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
You got to condition the people.
Number 2, keeping up with people you grew up with or grew apart from.
Oh, that's weak.
It's okay to cut and run if it just seems like work now, or you don't have much in common. Your thoughts?
I mean, if it is technically work, then were they ever that true? My homies that were true friends from the very beginning, they're still going to be there with me through the end. I'm still going to keep up with them. That's not work.
Okay.
I don't like that. I like to keep up with people.
Okay. Yeah, you can talk to a wall for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
Wall's got a lot to say.
Okay, what's going on here? Oh, wow. Yeah, I saw that.
3. I need to know these. Is this Wise Brothers?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, sports is number 3. Keep watching. Just don't be so invested on whether they win or lose. Yeah, right.
It's not happening.
And then they say that's one landing hard if you're a Jaguars fan today. Number 4, trendy clothes. The quote, as long as my clothes are clean, I don't care.
That's false.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
Number 5, other people's opinions of you. I definitely agree with that.
Heck yeah. It should be high.
You're not going to be able to change their opinion.
Oh.
You can't worry about it. All right, move on. All right, number 6, making good time on the road. Speeding doesn't make much sense, especially on short trips. What are you saving? 2 minutes? Interesting.
I don't know now. Because sometimes you can cut a good 25 off that bad boy.
Okay. Number 7, getting peer pressured into going out.
Well, that's on you. Who gets peer pressure?
Who gets peer pressure?
Who gives into peer pressure?
I think when you're in high school and college,
Maybe so, yeah.
your buddies get all worked up and they can get you out, or vice versa.
Sure.
You can get your buddy. All right. But once you become,
Well, you're 23 plus.
yeah, you're not.
Uh-uh.
Now, it says getting peer pressured into going out, but then it says screw FOMO, stay in and watch Netflix. So I disagree with that too. I mean,
Yeah.
we've gotten, your age and under are not all, because like, God, my kids are social. But anyway,
They are.
I think you need to get out. You don't just need to stay on your phone in your home watching Netflix.
No.
All right.
Cultured.
Number 8, the holidays. Someone claimed they're dialing way back on Christmas this year because they're sick of the consumerism. Okay, fair enough.
I'm in on that.
I mean, I get that.
Yeah.
These others don't really do anything for me. All right, cool.
That's not a bad list.
Nah, maybe that didn't hit exactly like I
Well,
thought
I
it
mean,
would.
what would be your number 1?
10 things we want to stop caring about in 2026.
Oh, God.
What would be my number 1? Wendy says I've never really cared what people thought in the first place.
Right.
Because I told her, I said, well, anyway. 2026. We want to stop caring about.
It's tough.
I don't know.
Well, I feel like the things we care about, we've already kind of like nixed out all the other stuff.
Okay.
Like the things that we care about are the things that we need to thrive and survive, right?
Should I stop caring about Mississippi State football?
It might do you. Hey, anxiety will disappear.
Yeah, I mean, you talking about a
A weight off your shoulder, man.
good Lord, what holy Mary Olzab. Has there ever been a group that's made it harder than it is?
You don't care.
Damn, nations. God bless. What do you do?
Okay.
The Golden Moon Casino text line is 601-885-3776. 885-3776. Show is brought to you by Grit Training and Fitness Facility. Grit on Lakeland Drive behind Ergon in Mirror Lake. Now's the time to go and tour the facility. Look at memberships. Look at all the classes that they teach. They've got like 6 gyms in this beautiful building. They've totally renovated it. It was the courthouse for years. And they've got indoor and outdoor turf, indoor batting cages and pitching mounds, softball, baseball, all sorts of things for your travel ball team or youth sports team. This is all powered by Grit Fitness and Training on Lakeland Drive. Tour it today or this week behind Ergon and Mirror Lake. And we're live in the Bank Plus studio.